Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. A locally developed mineral rights system is taking the minerals management world by storm, while an exploration and mining software solutions provider from Australia sees South Africa as an excellent base from which to penetrate the African markets. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer joins me to discuss these innovations. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Shannon.
Now, can you tell us about the South African developed mineral rights system, Flexi Cadastre?
Yes, it's ironic that you get this locally developed mineral rights system in a crucial area, mineral rights, where we have issues in South Africa. And it's being used by Mozambique, Zambia, Uganda, you name it. Even Greenland is using this South African-based system, which really is quite impressive. I mean, I watched on the big screens on the wall how they applied for a prospecting right in Zambia and sealed it and paid for it within the space of time that I was there in about 10 minutes. So, that is the sort of situation that encourages investors. If you've got a good mining code and then you create efficient access, you actually, he showed us the figures, you can see that the country benefits, particularly if it's a mining jurisdiction, and he's in about 71 of them at the moment. At the same time, you also sell this into the private sector. So the private sectors can manage their assets, their mineral rights, their prospecting rights, and they can make sure that they do things at the right time through having the system. So you've got it at both ends. You've got it at the government end, and the government has grasped it in many of these African countries with the backing of the World Bank. I think this company, Spatial Dimension, it's from Cape Town. It started with Mozambique, and now it's really spreading quite fast, and it's quite impressive. The actual system is only about 10 years old, but it's gone into many countries already, and you can see it progressively getting further and further towards the total online portal, as we're seeing coming through now in Zambia. So it's so ironic that we have these technologies, but we don't actually necessarily use them in South Africa.
Now, on that note, they're used in like 1,200 entities, yet our own South African Department of Mineral Resources doesn't use it. What's that story?
You see, the SAMRAD system was tailor-made by people within the department using vendors that I still don't know who they are. We have asked many times, who actually got this contract, and we haven't quite got the answers. I think it's a good, in principle, you've got this online portal, you can do things online, but people complain that it's very unfriendly and it freezes on them. And many of them want to go back to doing the manual, and by law you can actually do things manually, even though they've got the online portal. Or they try and do it a bit in parallel with some manual just in case. That doesn't look efficient to me. And I think that Jacob Zuma, he had this special economic session yesterday where he emphasized how important this mining industry is. You can see the rand starting to slide because people are losing confidence in South Africa's seriousness to actually manage its own mining industry. Labour is not working within the framework of the law. They're going on a wildcat type approach where they ignore the law. I mean, we've got some very good labour frameworks here. We've got a good constitution. They tend to work outside of that. And I think it's important that they be brought back in, because all these inefficiencies and these illegal activities are starting to impact on every single citizen here, because he's going to have to pay more for a loaf of bread, he's going to have to pay more for petrol, and anger will develop. And we've had enough of people saying they're going to do things. And I'm using a micro example to bring in the macro picture, but there is this micro irritation. The president is saying, we are committed to certainty, we're committed to stability, we're committed to order, we're committed to efficiency. Well, then they must do something at this sort of micro level, where someone sitting in New York is looking to invest in Africa. He finds Zambia a far quicker place. He ignores us completely. That means there's lack of foreign direct investment, and we don't want the sort of investment that we're having now, where someone can pull their money in and out and the rand just plummets, just a push of a button. We want proper fixed investment, and that's the sort of arena where you can get it. The mining arena, industry, agriculture, manufacture. And the president did say he wants to push 6 big areas, including starting with mining and ending with manufacture, and in between, all the green initiatives and tourism and agriculture, all important. I'm going in a roundabout way, but I'm saying at every turn we must be efficient, and I think the Department of Mineral Resources must say to itself, our self-tailored, bespoke system is being criticized right, left and center, whereas the South African developed system down the road, we've ignored it, the rest of Africa has taken it on, and everybody's happy with it. And private sector companies that use it to manage the MPRDA, which is the Minerals and Petroleum Resources Development Act, in other words, manage the legislation, they're using it. So I'm not trying to promote this particular company or anything like that, but if there is a good system available, why try and reinvent the wheel?
But now on to some good news. An Australian mining software provider, Micromine, says South Africa is an excellent base for which to penetrate into the African market. Can you tell us about that?
And again, I think South Africans undersell themselves. We're saying, there's so many problems in the country. We hear the negative headlines right, left and centre. Yet an Australian company comes from the outside, Micromine. What do? They want to penetrate Africa. Okay, they've been around this region for some time, but they had a chance. They were setting up the new offices in Africa. So where do you set them up? I mean, they're targeting West Africa particularly, they're targeting Southern Africa. But what do they say? We've chosen South Africa to re-entrench ourselves. Why? Because this is the best springboard into Africa. Why? Because you've got such good people here. We've recruited such good people. We don't believe in bringing Australians to come and man this. We believe in recruiting locally South Africans, and we've got top people here. This is the place. We find that for many reasons, obviously, there's English-speaking language, and the fact that we play cricket and rugby and all that sort of thing does help. But you can see we've still got those advantages. People are saying, I want to put my money in South Africa. I'm going to use that as the base. We should be saying, with that sort of encouragement from people on the outside, what are we doing about promoting our country from the inside? We need to say, enough is enough. Our biggest problem at the moment is labour. There are fantastic frameworks in which they can work. They must work in those frameworks. If they go outside of those frameworks, there must be consequences. And we need stability and order. No more violence. We've got this reputation of not only having more strike days than anyone else, but there's violent strikes, world records. We don't want world records in those areas. So it's time to refocus the mind. I can see that even though the rand did fall after Jacob Zuma spoke, as if people didn't actually take him seriously, I think there is serious intent that this is the start of a process, not a single event, where the finance minister will go out and speak to that investor community, and he's quite persuasive, Pravin Gordhan, that the Labour minister will see that there's order, but all this will be done under Kgalema Motlanthe, the deputy president, who is a figure who is close to mining. He was a former mine labourer, he was a former mine unionist, so he's a good person to have there. And then working with the Mineral Resources Minister, who has been told there must be certainty in this industry. Well, if there's going to be certainty, you need a good cadastre, and you need proper amendments to the MPRDA, which is the legislation, the backbone that people use. And I think unless some of those amendments have been corrected that are going through Parliament now, we're still going to have uncertainty. So that's what might be the problem. And that's perhaps why the rand falls, because people say things, but the investors don't see them actually manifesting themselves, and that has to happen.
It's good to know that Australia thinks we're a great springboard. What else is Micromine doing to keep up with technological innovations in this area?
Yeah, well, they've introduced, their name is Micromine, and their flagship product is Micromine, and they introduced a whole string of innovations to that. So, and the other suites of assets also all been upgraded. And it's all to make sure that they can penetrate deeper into Africa. Africa represents about 10% of the investment at the moment, of the activity, as they described it, at the moment. looking to do much more. Everybody's looking to do much more in Africa, and South Africa is falling behind, you know. So we need to play catch up, but it's got to be done, and we do see mines being focused. And if other people have got confidence in Africa and South Africa, I think we should put our best foot forward to make sure that their investments are safe, that we get more foreign direct investment, and we have a legislative backbone that encourages people to do business here.
Well, we hope for the best. Thank you very much, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Shannon.
That's the show for today. Join us again next time for more news and insight into what's happening in the mining world.